Before the meditation, here's a quote from Lama Yeshe. We instinctively feel that we exist as something very real, definite and substantial. So we instinctively feel that we exist as something very real, definite and substantial. So that's the first step in our meditation. We will even enhance that feeling that we exist as something real, definite and substantial. We have no doubt about this real me. And it seems absurd to think of it as just another hallucination. It seems absurd. It's like, what is he talking about? Yeah, me, I. Yeah, definitely, I have feelings. I have problems. It seems absurd to doubt that I. And see it as another hallucination. Seems to be absurd. Yet, if we take the trouble to search for this supposedly concrete I or me, we will discover that we cannot find it anywhere. And that's what we will do. Yeah? We will search for this supposedly concrete I or me. So that's the meditation. So let's start by just reconnecting in the same way as we did in the first meditation. So if you adjust your posture, and then you drop with your awareness into the body, supported by the breath. And then with the out-breath, as best as you can, let go of some of the unnecessary tension. So with the in-breath sliding into the body, so you find a place of rest. Of course, thoughts, they don't stop, but let them happen somewhat in the background, like the noise outside. Notice the rising and falling of your belly, and the sensations in your hands. And if it feels good for you, we call upon the presence of the Dalai Lama, the Karmapa, to ask for their protections, inspiration and guidance. And then I invite you to go back to a recent situation where you were reactive, where you felt defensive. And you recall the situation, the person involved or the situation involved. What was being said. And then become aware of that sense of I, of me. I didn't do it. I am right. So become aware of this I, this me, the central position. And you don't think about it, don't analyze it, just get a sense of. How dare you to say this to me? Why did you say this to me? I feel hurt. I feel hurt by it. I. So get a sense of it. So neither go too close to that I, to that me, nor go into the stories and thinking. Just get a sense of I, the central position, the one who's hurt, the one who wants to be right. Stay connected with your body, and you imagine that reactivity, you feel that reactivity, that defensiveness. As if in the experience, the feelings and the thoughts, as if there is someone having these feelings and thoughts. The central position, the I, the me. And then if your mind wanders to something else, you come back. next I invite you to bring something in your mind you are anxious about. And you bring yourself into a recent situation where you felt that anxiety, maybe about money, about your relationship, about your future, about your job, something you feel anxiety about. And then there's also how does the I, the scared I, the afraid I, the afraid me, how does it appear to you? So there's the discomfort of the anxiety. What is the I, the me, who has this anxiety? How does that appear to you? And then lastly, just now feel or get a sense of the I central position. Isn't there a sense that there's an owner of the body, an owner of the thoughts and feelings you have just now? So for sure there's thoughts and feelings and sensations. You hear something, thoughts appearing, but isn't there also a sense of a central position, I, that there is someone who is experiencing this? I have thoughts, I have sensations. These are my thoughts, my feelings, my sensations. So get a sense of that I. Could be that it feels a bit of as if there's like a contraction within the body, like a tension. I, me, this is happening to me. So in this first part of the meditation, that's all what we do. We try to get a sense of the I, of the me, how it appears to us. And then we move into the second part of the meditation, where then we actually look for that I, for that me. We look for the central position, and if it exists, it should become more clearer. Closer we get, more we look, more obvious it should become, if it exists. And we look into the body-mind, starting with the body. So if you kind of do a slight body scan, become aware of the parts of the body. The legs, the feet, the torso, the arms, the head. And we could also say that the body is a community of millions of cells. Can you get a sense of it, that community? All the cells of the skin, the cells of the bones, the cells of the skin, of the muscles, the cells of the blood, the cells of the brain, the organs. So there's this community, this big community of living cells. So which one is the central position? Which one is the I, the me? Where sits the owner, the dictator in this community? The one who makes the decisions. So you look in your feet, in your legs, in your torso. All you find is many, many, many parts. But where is the one I, the one me, within that community, within that millions of parts? So searching like that within the parts of the body, within the community of cells, this open process. We find many things, but none of the things we find is the I, is the me. We find the blood moving, the heart pumping, the brain working, digestion happening, breathing happening. So life is happening, the body is alive, and there's many parts working harmoniously together, but there is no central position in this process. So if we look for the owner, for the one in control, we can't find anyone except the one we make up. So then we move into mind, into consciousness, into thinking. And so the same as with the body, we look into this process, into this always changing process. So what is mind? There's thoughts happening. There's the names. There's a sense of I. That's also a mental phenomenon, the sense of I. There's the 51 mental factors of the Buddhist psychology. Memories, fears, feelings. And also there is changing, moving. There's nothing solid, nothing concrete there, nothing stable, nothing lasting, like in the body. Many parts being connected with each other, an open process, a system. But where within that system, this open system, this moving, changing system, like the weather, where's the I? Which one is the central position? The one you defend. The one you're afraid of. The one you worry about. Is it the name? Is it the memories? Is it the feelings? Is it the thoughts? So we are in the same insight here, that we find many things, impermanent, non-static, flowing things, and we don't find the separate, solid I. We don't find the owner of the thoughts, the owner of the feelings, except the one we make up. So now we are at this point where we have looked into the body and we have looked into the mind for the central position, for the I, for the me, and we have not found it. So for the next few moments, imagine how it is to put down the burden of the central position and be openness, be connectedness. Feel how it is to rest in boundaryless, centerless beingness, with nothing to defend. Sounds are happening, feelings are happening, thoughts are happening. But there's nobody there owning them. They are not mine because there's no I. When the center position drops, the mine drops also. Imagine how it is. Feel how it is to put down the burden of defensiveness. And that things just flow by themselves, which they do. This moment is happening just by itself. You can relax. Nothing to defend, nothing to attain. And yes, there is a sense of I, maybe. But there's just a sense of I. That doesn't mean that there is an I. It's just a sense of I. It's just one of the many things coming and going, changing, moving. Imagine, feel how it is, if the need to be right, if the need to know, if the need to get something for yourself, if that drops, because the central position drops. Imagine how it is when the need of being famous or beautiful or happy drops away because there's nobody there. Nothing would change. It's the same feelings, thoughts, sounds, but the stress drops. The defensiveness drops. The me, the what about me drops. The what about me drops, dissolves. What is left is just this, happening by itself. So, how did that go? Are there any questions, difficulties with that meditation? Does it make sense for you? Yeah.
I got an experience of that all we separate projectors are kind of one, like the cells in a body or the drops in an ocean.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And there came a feeling of relief, kind of, in that.
Yeah. Mm. It's an image which might help to feel that connectedness with others, to kind of feel, wow, yes, there's a cells in my body, that's a kind of community, that's a system, that's why I naturally take care of my hands. I'm not saying, yeah, your hands down there. I'm up here. I don't care. So, in that kind of sense can be extended to you. Like, we are part of one body.
Yeah.
So,
but then
it's like you could say, oh, initially you have a feeling of I and my body. I and my body. So, the Dalai Lama says, I and my body.
Then I couldn't avoid, like I said before we started here, that we are all projectors. We all projectors are one body, but I couldn't avoid...
But who is projecting?
Huh?
Who is projecting?
Well, all the cells or all the drops in the ocean. But then I couldn't, and there was a sense of relief. But then I couldn't avoid that there was something bigger that was making us project. So there was kind of a double image. Like it goes on and on. Like for instance, if you see yourself in a certain angle in a mirror, it goes on and on and on and on. If you put the mirror in a certain angle, you can see going on.
Yeah, just now on this level of the teachings of this investigation, we don't go there. So here in the second turning of the wheel, the experience of selflessness or emptiness is what is called a non-affirmative negation. Non-affirmative negation means we stay there in the non-finding. We don't put something positive into that place. So, like what you try to do is you try to put word and to describe the mystery of awareness or mind itself or consciousness. And this is happening in the third turning of the wheel. But in the second turning of the wheel, we stay with the non-finding. We stay with that openness. And then we are not like, yeah, but then there seems to be a presence and there seems to be like awareness, and where does the projection come from? We don't go there. We stay in this dramatic moment of not finding something which we so much believed is there.
Okay, so I was running a little.
You were running ahead, and that's. I tend to do that. No, it's like it is, of course. On one hand, it could be a bit of the I, still finding a kind of immortality or something, like the I. Then okay, I don't exist, but I'm actually consciousness itself. So I'm safe. I'm on the safe side. Yeah. So sure, I'm not the separate solid I. But I am primordial consciousness.
No, but I didn't feel safe when I said that.
That's a good sign. So in the Prajnaparamita Sutras, it says when the Buddha delivered these teachings, some of the monks, they fainted. Yeah, because they couldn't stand it. It was too much. And that's why he then came with a third turning of the wheel, kind of assuring, yeah, you don't exist, but there is that Buddha nature thing.
When comes to turning of the wheel to spring?
The third turning of the wheel.
No, you said I was a little ahead.
Okay.
I'm thinking. So when comes the lecture about third turning?
I think it sneaks in. I think it sneaks in all the time.
What did you say?
I think it sneaks in all the time when we explore and when I teach, because yes.
Sometimes during the meditation I fell into some intellectual thinking about why is there this feeling of a separate self, and then I was thinking like, everything together makes up something, and why is it like that? And sometimes I can really, not in this meditation but in some other types, I can really feel that we're all connected, at least for short moments, and this emptiness and all this, but now I fell more into like this intellectual, like what is this and why do I feel this, that it's me. It's like really difficult to really let go of it, because there is something that like holds it together.
Yeah.
And why and what is that?
Yes, I think it's that's part of the investigation, to contemplate like this. And then at one point, when you have contemplated this for a few months or a few years and you have been thinking, then sometimes you would need to see that as a distraction in this meditation and just let it go, like you would let go in meditation of all distractions, and you would go back to the looking. Yeah. But right now it's fine to have like a mixture of it.
Because when I look, I don't find anything, not something solid there is nothing solid like me that I can find, but still there is something.
There is something.
What
is that something?
Because I don't know what you are thinking. I'm still like separate somehow from. I'm not like, otherwise, I cannot put words on it, but it's something like I'm conscious of my thoughts, but I'm not conscious of your thoughts. There is something separate still.
But yes, so there is there is a slight different experience here than there's there's there. Yeah. Also, we can't really find a strict boundaries, because maybe the fear you feel, if you would feel fear now, could be actually my fear. So there is not a fix like this, but still there seems to be a kind of a center, like a gravity of awareness, which is different there than here. Yes. But what we are now negating, what we are now refuting, is that experience is experienced by someone solid separate. We don't negate that there is a different, that there's different feelings there. There is different feelings there. But what we are now, what we are investigating into is, who is the owner of that different experience? Yes, there is a different experience, but who is owning it?
I think I fall into like, why is it like that or something?
Why is it like that?
Yeah.
Why is it like that? So what? Why? Why is it like that? So What do you? What is the that? What is the that? Why is it like that?
Like what? Yeah, it's difficult.
So you could ask, why is it like that I feel separate? What's the purpose of it? Where is it coming from? That would be a question. Yeah. Why? One possible, not answer, but possible response to that question is when we just look at, from the Buddhist point of view, this question does not make sense if you are asking for original cause, like the beginning of it. That question does not make sense in the Buddhist kind of thinking, because that there is nothing like an original cause, because there needs to be something before that. So, and before that, and before that. So that's why they talk about beginningless. But we could ask that question like regarding the present moment. So, why is it happening like that? And a possible response to that is, it's because we're afraid of the connectedness, of the openness. It's like a kind of security. So if we know, it's like that vastness, that openness, that amazing love which comes with that, and that amazing responsibility is like too much. And then we kind of rather retract into our little nest. And Trungpa Rinpoche says that movement, that contraction is happening in each moment. Like each moment is like I. Because no, not like this. I. Yeah? And this movement of I is happening since beginningless time. So they don't say there was this original moment where this I first appeared. No, this instinct of I. The cause for that is the instinct just a moment before. So it's born of this habit, which you can't trace back to the first moment when this habit arose. So this contraction of the I in the moment of possibility to be open and connected, that's also exactly what happens at the death process, and it is actually that contraction which then makes the journey continue. The journey within the I. So there's like I, and there's less and less to identify in the death process, because you lose your memories, you lose your purpose, you lose your friends, you lose your name. So it's like, and there's more and more like panic, like I, but there's nothing to put your foot on, because your conceptual mind loses its capacity to keep things together. Like, so, and then when the final opening is happening, what is called the clear light mind, and then now we move into the third turning of the wheel. So what is that opening? But we don't do that. So then, out of habit, there's this contraction again, I, and then we are looking. Oh, there's a womb of a dog, and then we are there.
Question to that?
Yes.
Are all people longing for this openness? Are we longing to be in the openness, or?
It seems so. That's why we like sex so much.
Yeah.
And getting drunk and feeling connected. So we feel comfortable and safe in groups and or in families, and so it's like it's a natural that we have that longing for. Yeah, that's the spiritual search, and probably addictions are, for example, are all expression of that spiritual longing. Yeah.
Like when we are dancing to the same rhythm.
Yeah.
In a group.
Yes. That's that's a big part of spiritual traditions also, to kind of move together, to sing together, to pray together. It's like expanding that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about surrendering.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, that paradox of how we're all longing to return to our true home, and yet when we start to relax and start to feel that we're like becoming more aware, then for most people there can arise that sense of fear that things are dissolving, like the feelings are dissolving, I can't hold on anymore to the sense of I, and then fear comes instead, and you're already there. So you have both. You want to go there, but you don't want to let go.
Yeah. And it's particularly hard, or it's particularly challenging if you stay with the second turning of the wheel, because there, like nothing is. You are really pushed beyond the conceptual mind into the abyss of not knowing, of groundlessness. And that's like dying. Yeah.
I'm thinking about like clinging and holding, like sorrow. Why are we? Because that's a bit of I as well, but it's not a good thing. But still, there is this clinging to it.
Yes.
It's strange.
Yeah, that's how the I survives.
Yeah, but it's a negative.
Yeah, but it's better to survive miserably than to let go. So it's like it feels safe.
It's a safe
feeling. Yeah.
To be in
So
sorrow.
Yeah, the egoic structure will clings to problems, clings to drama, clings to wounds, because that's how it survives. It's like a parasite. It's a parasite living from pain.
Yeah, but I could understand it better if it wanted to cling to good things.
Yeah.
But it's a parasite, so it takes it all.
Yeah, yes.
Whatever
right.
it gets.
Yeah, whatever it gets. And if there's misery, then
okay.
I eat that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one, I told that before, it's a little story about this, which is a good analogy for this investigation, for this insight meditation. So this is like vipassana, insight meditation, to look into the experience and find that there's nothing solid, nothing concrete there. And that is a story about the teacher Dipa Ma, who she was a woman from India who was acknowledged as a liberated being, and in the 80s Westerners started to attend her teachings, and then she was invited to teach in the United States in the 80s. And on her first trip, when she came to New York, one of her students, Sharon Salzberg, she showed her a bankomat, an automatic teller machine, and like kind of show off the accomplishments of the West. And so she showed, like, she put in the card and pressed the numbers, and the money came out. And while she was doing it, Deepa Ma, like this tiny Indian woman in a sari, she was looking there. She was standing there and she was looking at it, and she said, "Oh, this is so sad. This is so sad." And then Sharon Salzberg asked her, "What is so sad?" And then Deepa Ma says, "Oh, this poor person which is sitting there in this box the whole day without light, and it's so small, and it's getting your card and sending out the money." and Sharon Salzberg says, No. There is no person in this machine. It's just a process happening. And then Deepa Ma says, this is exactly what the Buddha meant when he was teaching about anatta, about selflessness. So there's a process happening, but there's not an I or a me or a person sitting there behind the process, being in control or being the victim of the process. So what we do in this kind of meditation, in the Vipassana meditation, we look into the process, which is sensations, thoughts and feelings. So just exactly what is happening. So that is the process. And we take the screws like this, let's imagine Sharon Salzberg took her toolbox, like to prove her point, and she started to screw the machine, looking for that, wanting to liberate this person, enlightenment, liberation for this person. So we take the parts, and in this case we take the skin, the blood, the hair. Then there's like a bit like a hardware, like a something where we can put the mind. So we take the parts, and all the time we think, there must be a Stefan here which needs to be liberated. No, the one who is suffering, the one who wants to be enlightened. So we take it apart, and then in the end we have all these parts, the parts of the bankomat, and there's like, wow, there wasn't ever a prisoner. There was nobody in that. There's nobody who needs to get enlightened or needs to be liberated. And that's the enlightenment, that's the liberation. To see there is no person in the machine. There's a process, yes. So there is feelings, thoughts and sensations. And that's it.
It's not very easy to... Sorry. It's not very straightforward, is it?
I think it's very straightforward. So let's do it with you. So if you take your hair,
I can see what you. That thing, it's okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then.
But the core that you're born with some. You may be introvert or extrovert.
Yeah, that's we put that into that little heart, into the mind box. It's like a hard drive. Yeah. So there's introversion. There's this. There's personality. So there's this. But which of them is the I?
Altogether.
So altogether is the I. So what is the altogether? Where does that come from? Show me the altogether.
Flesh, the body.
So you're saying you're the flesh, you're the body.
It's the that's the house.
The house of what? Who's living in the house?
Processes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're not looking for processes. That's not the object of negation. The object of negation is not processes. The object of negation is that there is someone living in that house. So we're looking into the house and we look.
It's a story, experiences.
It's a story, yes. So yes, it's a story. So you worry about story. You worry about a story. You worry about something which you make up.
You talk about a self or an I, or I'm very intellectual. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about the owner of the body and mind.
The owner. And the owner has looks upon it, himself or herself as something.
As something. Yes.
What is a psychosis for you?
Still, in a psychosis, there is a sense of I. Because there's fear, there's a sense of being overwhelmed by the input. So there is chaos. There is a sense of I. So it could be that a psychosis is kind of a spiritual experience while still clinging to the I. Whereas a saint might have a similar experience as a psychotic person, but is completely relaxed and free in it, because there is no I to cling to. There is no need to make sense, or there is no need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this all together, of course, that's a conclusion you could make. Yeah, but it's all together. But all together is a projection. It's something it's like you say, it's a story, it's a label, it's a mental creation all together. Like all together is taking a mental crayon, a big crayon, and make like a line around this, and then call it all together, and that's me. Yeah. So, yes, you can say it's all together, but then you have to realize that it's all together. That is a conceptual function. It's something we project. It's completely valid to say, yeah, I am all this together. I am this process. Yeah, But when I say it, I am this process, there is a sense of as if the I am this process. And it is this I which is being negated. There is an identification with I am this process. Oh, yeah, I know that I'm not solid and real and separate, but I am this process. I. Yeah, so, and it is that I which is being refuted. That I which is the process.
It's a simplification that the brain does, I guess. Otherwise, it would be impossible to.
It has a function, yes, and it is like in our development, like with 15 months or something like this, it has to happen. That process of creating a sense of separateness, a sense of I, yes, that's right. So there is a purpose to it, or a it's necessary. It's a necessary step in our development. But then we live our life as if it is more than that.
Because sometimes
sometimes I don't get it why we have to have so much feelings and processing and all that. What's the purpose? We could go through life with or I think it's got to have a point that you feel sad sometimes and happy sometimes and have to set boundaries sometimes. And
You mean like an overall meaning?
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's not that's yeah that's not what you would that's not something being taught in Buddhism, that there's a meaning
behind the different feelings that you have.
There is no there is not like a deeper meaning for it. Why it is happening? It's happening. You have, according to the Buddhist teachings, the experience you have just now, today, all your feelings and thoughts, they are happening because of your karma. That's what. Yeah.
And I'm thinking like that's life. Like the water is running and the feelings are coming and going.
Yeah, and they are coming and going because they are connected with ways of living and habits and ways of beings before.
Yeah.
So in that way, they are not falling from the sky like randomly. They happen because this moment is connected with everything else, whatever happens, whatever happened. And it can't be different than it is just now.
No, it's not. And I will never know what my karma is way back. I will never get an answer to that. The only thing I can do now is living it in it.
Yeah, so you can kind of, from this point, from these teachings, you can kind of conclude, like if you have a lot of, like, you have a recurring challenge in your life, like a physical challenge or a mental challenge, then you kind of can conclude, oh yeah, so this is coming from certain activities and attitudes and experiences in the past. So, like if you want to understand your karmic background, just look at the way your life is just now. And since we are living in Sweden, and with that we are on the, like, I mean, it's like heaven, yeah? It's like, I mean, we really got it. I mean, somehow we made it here. It's like, so that means, and from the Buddhist point of view, this is not falling from the sky. So we have created the causes for that. Or we, when I say we, I talk about a stream of consciousness. Yeah, a stream of consciousness, which is not you, like the person. And that stream of consciousness is connected with everything else. It's not like my stream of consciousness. Yeah, so it's a stream of consciousness. But so the reason why that stream of consciousness right now enjoys to live in Sweden, to have this experience of Sweden, means that there was a lot of generosity in the habit of that stream of consciousness in previous lives. when I say now you, I'm not saying you as a little person we are identified with, but you must have been a very generous person, because it's like you're bombarded by generosity just now. And then of course there's the anxiety, the struggle in this life, and so on and so on, and that also has causes. Yeah, I mean, you can. It's obvious we can live here. We can live in Sweden and be completely miserable, and also that has. That is also being traceable within that stream of consciousness. So. But then this stream of consciousness is not owned by a separate solid person. And also that stream of consciousness, you can't find the boundaries of it. So in that way, that stream of consciousness is connected with everything else. Yeah. Yes.
It's meaningless in a way, of course, but I'm often thinking, am I doing my maximum? Is there something that I could do that I'm not in contact with in various aspects of my life? Could I do something to help me in the world better?
So when you say I and me, what are you referring to? Can I do better?
No.
Can I do better? So the I, that I, what are you?
Yeah. But it's hard to not have.
So what happens with your question?
It appears like Ambry. Is there something that energy can do better for everyone? Then if it's good. So. No, it's hard to express.
Yes, it's a good question. No, if there is no controller, no owner, what is with free will? What is with making decisions? The way we usually would think about decisions or free will would assume that there is an I which makes these decisions. Mm-hmm. So if we look for the I as we did now and we don't find an I, then this whole concept of decisions starts to shake, starts to fall apart.
Yeah, yes it does. But yet I could have a little bad conscience to not doing maximum for the benefits of the world's best.
Yeah, and that feeling of that feeling arising there, that is arising because of interconnectedness, because of your karma. So it's so this whole idea of free will and decisions making really starts to shake, yeah. And that's and as soon as that starts to shake, there is the I. Hey, no, but I make the decisions. Are you saying that everything is that I can't decide? Yeah, so it's like the I is speaking up, because it's like it really needs to feel, the I needs to feel that I'm in control, that I make the decision, and that I am responsible. Yeah.
And the concept is that I'm not doing maximum, but that is an illusion. I can just be.
I don't know if that would be the conclusion.
Huh?
I don't know if that is
Tricky.
Yeah. So what are we left now with?
I.
But if there's no free will,
yeah. I'm not saying that there is no free will, because that is too, that is an extreme position. Yeah, but so what is free will for you?
I turn right instead of left when I go out, for instance.
And who's making that decision?
Wanting.
Yeah, and this
Thoughts.
wanting, where does it come from?
Do you have the answer?
Is it, are you, no,
Yes, me. I.
yeah, but
Yes.
what is that I?
I know.
It depends on
It's the
if you're biologist or psychologist or just human being. It's a projection.
Yeah,
You see
but
what I
you have the feeling that I make the decisions. So who is that making decisions? Who is that?
Well,
Or is it?
We're bounded by the language, and we're limited by the language. And
Yeah,
I
but
say
I'm
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you say I, me, so that's language, that's a word. But what are you referring to?
The flesh.
The flesh makes the decision. Wow. this
So
What-
what do you think
what
we
is
should
it?
do?
or is it that decisions just appear? That thoughts just appear, and then thoughts appear, and then we make the conclusion, there's a thought, there must be an I. It's my thought.
It depends,
So there is a decision.
It depends on from which angle you see at it. If you see, more the brain, synapses, and so on, that's one very physical and materialistic explanation.
So then, so let's say,
One of many.
so there's synapses, brain,
Mm-hmm.
and a decision appears. So who makes the decision?
Experiences.
So then there is nobody. Then there is no free decision.
Well, then why talk about karma if we are decided to get to be a
Yeah,
frog
but
the next?
but we are not going there now. We were just staying in this.
Yes, okay,
Uh,
that's fine.
So when a decision appears, do you have any
It's a
any say?
representation of something. I don't know.
Have you ever anything? A decision appears. So I go left.
Because I have to
Is
go
that
out to make
really-
food to my
is-
children.
is-
It's a simplification.
Yeah, but for me
how-
it sounds there's no free will at all in you. It sounds that you feel that you are bound by maybe the brain and your children
Yes.
and habits so where's the free decision there?
But I have to say, it's the survival instinct. Because if I don't turn right, maybe I bicycle out in front of a car and I will die. So of course it's my survival instinct that say, go there now. because
But
then
is
you
that
will-
free decision? Like if you
I don't know.
if you like
But
if
I
you
want
if you
to
now
be-
make a quick movement and I do like this,
Yeah,
this is not free decision.
because maybe you think that I will attack you. So
Yeah, but
you-
this is not free decision. Definitely, for me, it does not feel like free decision at all. If I would have free decision in that moment, I would stay seated. I would decide to stay seated.
Then you have trust that I won't attack you.
Yeah, but that would be my decision.
Yeah. I get confused now.
That's good.
If even if you like put an example in front of other person, like this is something you like, this is ice cream, and this is something you don't like, this is like shit or something like that. So I know you're going to pick the ice cream because that is what you want. And you can still say, not just to show you that I make the free will, like I'll pick the shit just because, like a reverse psychology. But still, in that case, it was the process of being defiant, of proving the other one wrong, that brought that decision to you, not free will.
Yeah.
So in a sense, like I've never, in my own experience, found a free will. But obviously, there is choices, there is intention, there is all these things. So, but still, all choices in me, in myself, are affected or influenced by so many things.
Yes. Yes.
As I understand it, there's something behind the I, and not the I, but me. Something behind me.
Something
that's
behind
me, and there's this not the projection in me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the projection I have to see, because the I are emotion, I am flesh, I am consciousness, and all that. But something behind that.
Yeah.
Is something that can't say, it doesn't have words.
Yeah.
I can't put a word on
Then
it.
you go into the third turning of the wheel.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I'm not. It's not. It's not bad.
Don't go there.
No, but that's So that's then investigating into the nature of mind, or into the nature of consciousness, into the nature of awareness. Yeah.
For the longest time, when I explored these teachings, the purely emptiness teachings, I thought that, okay, because there is no I, and like I get it logically, and then I need to enforce that into my experience. I need to feel there is no I, because if I feel there is an I, then, oh no, I'm still confused, I'm not enlightened. So my hope and idea was that when there is no sense of separation, then I am enlightened. And so really trying to like convince myself that even though it feels like I am here, no, this is not real, and there was this relief. But that feeling is like, even if it comes and goes and changes, and I don't think I will ever be free from this sense of I.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until the tantric teachings where I found the relief in, the feeling and the sense of I is necessary, but we should have a good sense of I, a healthy sense of I instead, and not try to not feel anything, not feel I. Because as soon as there is a feeling, a sensation, there can also come a sense of I, a small contraction. And if I make that into a big of a deal,
the I being refuted is not this sense of I. The I being refuted is the I where you have like the I who is trying to get enlightened. The I who is that's the I which is being refuted.
Why did you say that?
Why? It just happened. I didn't have any control.
Sense of I is okay.
Maybe one could translate I with a carrier of gathered consciousness through lifetimes back. No, sitting here. Gathered consciousness.
Yeah. You can say a lot of things.
But when we're talking about karma, that karma has resulted, I'm sitting on this chair. And that is consciousness. Yeah. Consciousness gathered. Summary here now.
So now you told a wonderful story. So, what happens if we write this story on a piece of paper and put it together and burn it?
Nothing happens.
What is then?
Nothing.
Nothing.
But all
There's nothing. Like, what do you mean with nothing?
nothing to find. Well, when the fire ate the paper, maybe there are some molecules floating.
I was more referring to how it feels, or what is happening in you when you see, this. What we are doing now, we are telling us stories.
Yeah.
So, what happens if we, for a moment, write all these stories down on a piece of paper and we throw it out the window?
The consciousness just witnessed that.
And how does that feel? What is happening in you?
Maybe the consciousness cannot feel.
What is happening in you when you write these stories we have been telling ourselves now? When you write them onto a paper and you throw them out of the window?
But it doesn't matter in a way.
What is happening in you then?
Neutral.
Neutral.
That was one reflection
Yeah.
of many that could be.
Yeah, neutral is, neutral is quite good often.
I don't need to hold on to this concept as I expressed now. It could be one of many facets.
Yes.
But this with the consciousness struck me that I am the collected jar or carrier of all the consciousness since beginning, who made me sit here now and everyone else. But with what I said, if you wrote it on a paper or burn it or threw it out the window, whatever. I don't need this to be the explanation solidly. I don't need it to be the explanation solidly. I don't want to have exclusive rights on that to be the truth. No.
Okay. Yes.
It's just a reflection.
And
I felt there was a stroke of truth in it with the consciousness, with the collective consciousness.
I like that image of the stream of consciousness.
Because that's the truth. That part was not debate, what I felt in the core of me.
Yeah. Okay. Time is up. Let's sit quietly for a few minutes. Slide out of the day. So if you just check in again. Where are you now? The breath is happening. And sounds are happening. Thoughts are happening. And you have a certain mood just now. And this is like the weather, changing, moving. It's a display of your karma. And like the weather, you can't find the boundaries within that experience. It's connected with everything else. And it is moving through you. It's a unique moment in your life. And it will never happen again. And it can be experienced only through you. Only you can feel your breath, and you can listen to your thoughts, having your feelings. You are aware. What a mystery, a miracle. Then we can reconnect with our intention for this morning.